Hi, this is Akim. Welcome back to my channel. Um, I know you're wondering why am I dressed up that guy again from Behaving. Was it Behaving Badly or is it what is it? Breaking Bad. Why am I dressed like him again? Well, ladies and gentlemen, once again we're having problems on the subway with people with bad behavior. Breaking Bad. In fact, it's gotten so bad. We got the numbers from the NYPD. There's been 1,185 assaults in the transit system between January and this time on the 17th of November. That's a 10.9% increase in assaults. So, once again, to the Rights Alliance who keep saying we don't need the extra cops, the numbers say otherwise. Your numbers are wrong, our numbers are right. And the increase in crime is not happening just in New York. I mean, the Bay Area's art system, they just had a stabbing on board the train or in the station. Passenger was killed. Guy tried to get away and carjack a couple cars, but he didn't get far. Their crime rate is also going up. So, basically, these folks just want to support lawbreakers, fare beaters, and the illegal licensed people. They don't even care about the people who pay the fares, who just want to get on the train, get to their destination, try to mind their own business. But for some reason, they interact with somebody who, whatever the problems are, they think it's okay to come and start um, a whole brouhaha or whatever on the subway. Whether it's a slap in the face, whether it's liquid, whether it's a knife, whether it's another weapon, whether it's fists, it's just getting out of control on the subway system. So you need the police, whether they like it or not. And speaking of problems with violence, we have to get back to the Taylor Swift situation with, we have to say Scooter Bruno. I hope we're pronouncing it right. We saw a Instagram story from Scooter to Taylor, and he was very upset about some of the threats he was getting. I mean, I understand, you know, there might have been, it's not a good relationship between Taylor and Scooter, but it doesn't excuse people from making ridiculous threats. Especially one I saw is quite disturbing. I'm going to bring that up. Let's see if I have it here. Let's see. You see this? I don't know if you can see it or not. Maybe it's a screen or something. But just in case, if you don't, I'll read it to you. This is from Scooter Braun. Some clown wrote, quote, "Hi, why don't you just die with your children?" This person doesn't know how to write clearly. But then he says at the bottom, "Oh, I will buy a gun tomorrow," and then instead of saying them, then, THEN, he said them with an M. How's he spell it too? "Shoot you all in the head." Now I gotta remind you that Scooter has kids. This is not something you want to be saying to a person with kids, because there's a disagreement. Taylor did not ask you to make threats. She asked you to express your feelings. A lot of Taylor fans would do that without a problem. But there's always a few that has to go on and beyond for no good reason. You know, you get Taylor in trouble with this too, because they could have taken her to court and they could have sued her for inciting a riot or extra security. You're not helping her situation by doing that. Basically, we just had two shootings last week on either side of the coast. The high school shooting in Los Angeles, two students dead. The shooter shoots himself, and he passed away later. We'll never know why he did that. And then on the East Coast, on the Jersey side, middle of a football game, we had another shooting. It had nothing to do with the team. 6 people have been arrested in the shooting. So who were injured, including a 10-year-old boy. Unfortunately, the 10-year-old boy died. He succumbed to his injuries. They did play a game sometime this week. I think the Philadelphia Eagles was nice enough to lend them a stadium to play their game, and they had them on signs for the 10-year-old who died. What I'm saying is, just like with the subway, folks, let me remind you, even though I'm not an expert on these things, but I will tell you this, especially that person who wrote that about shooting his kids. Number one, if your threat crosses state lines, you get in trouble with the FBI, and especially in trouble with the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Because they will be looking for you, whether this threat is legit or not. We had people making threats at schools. Something is a joke, or whatever stupid reason. Even though I had no plans to carry out any attacks, it's still not something you're supposed to be doing. Because the authorities are cracking down now, and they'll catch you. Believe me, all they have to do is find your IP address, you're screwed. If you have to be a minor, it don't matter. Because they'll still take you into handcuffs. So, words of the wise, don't be making threats. You can threaten me all you want, it doesn't bother me. Because I have shut down people before. And for those who don't understand what I mean by that, yeah, I've been threatened in the past. When I was little, my father was robbed at gunpoint by two gentlemen, African American. We called these people back then gentlemen bandits. Yes, they mean business, but they were fair. Today, if people try to rob you with a gun, they just don't take the stuff and go. They want to harm you for no good reason, even if you didn't resist. And we have seen that. Back in 1979, me and the family watching the World Series between the Orioles and the Pittsburgh Pirates. This is 10 years before the infamous Loma Paloma earthquake messed up the World Series. This World Series unfortunately had a unscripted situation happening too. While watching the game, you heard gunshots next door. And it turns out, the next day, our neighbors had to shoot an individual who came in from the Dominican Republic, hitman, I understand, trying to do bodily harm to his family. Luckily, he grabbed the gun from one of them, started shooting them. There was blood on the floor, there's bullet holes in the door. So, and this is like around the time where violent crime was changing now. The innocent people and children are starting to get caught in the crossfire because of some crazy nonsense coming from one of these cartel peoples in Colombia. They think it's okay now to shoot witnesses and stuff. That's unheard of back then. Now it's become commonplace from the 80s on. I had been held up almost at gunpoint myself, but luckily, gunman made a mistake, and I was able to capitalize on it. I yelled so loud, he scared the shit out of this guy. He didn't even have time to grab his gun. I almost ran right into him. The guy was thin. Looked like somebody from Central America. I thought he was one of these MS-13 clowns. But if he was, he would have shot him. So. To this day, I don't know if he had a real gun or a fake gun. On one incident at work, some idiot comes up to me because I'm telling him that he had to let go of the door. He's talking to his girl, trying to get a number. And he said, I got a gun, I'm gonna shoot you. And you know what I told him? Yeah, before you shoot me, you should shoot the whole family first. Him and his friend were shocked. The jaws dropped. They didn't know what to do. Lucky the conductor goes down and it just took off. Didn't have to report it because back then, they don't produce a weapon. They won't do anything about it. Now, if somebody does threaten you, even if they don't produce a weapon, they will go after that person. Yeah. I feel bad for Scooter Braun because there's no reason for people to be sending threats. What's wrong saying, oh, listen, I don't like what you're doing with Taylor? That's all you have to do. You don't have to do all that crazy stuff. This is not Breaking Bad. If you make a mistake, shoot somebody by accident on a movie set, it's just cut and start all over. But in real life, you can't do that. Like those 6 guys now sitting in jail for that incident in New Jersey with that 10-year-old that died. They can't take that back. Most likely those guys are gonna be facing homicide charges now. Including the integrity target. So basically, like Scooter is trying to reach out to Taylor, and hopefully they can settle their differences, and that'll be the end of that. But the point is, the violence is not necessary. Whether it's on the subway, whether it's on the internet, whether it's on the world stage, it's not necessary. You can bring your point across without being Al Capone. So let's just end it at that. So this is Al Can saying so on for now, and don't forget your style. Hey, Riders and Lions, I didn't forget you. You can forget your style.